You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Greetings, everyone. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily, episode 1544. And I'm happy to welcome to the Horse Tip Daily podcast Dr. Robert Jacobs. He is with Purina Animal Nutrition. He is the Equine Innovation Manager there. Welcome to the show, Dr. Jacobs.
Thanks for having me.
We have been chatting with the folks at Purina the past few months about the fascinating research you have done into the equine microbiome and thus far the amazing service, the testing kit that has evolved from that research. But you've also devised a product to help our horses live better lives that resulted from that research. What's it called, and how did that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So our new product is our Purina Systemiq Probiotic Supplement, Systemiq with Q, kind of playing off of that MQ play on words there. So Systemiq was born out of our research in a lot of different ways. So, probiotics are not a new thing for horses. However, the probiotic space has been jam-packed with a bunch of products that, really have questionable efficacy. And when you look at what a probiotic is and what it should be, right, it's a live bacterial species that promotes the health benefits of the horse. Well, for us here at Purina, we needed to understand every single aspect of that definition. So, first it's, all right, well, what bacterial species, right? Let's identify which specific bacteria we're going to target, right? So that was the first part of our research. And we did an amazing in-depth review of different bacterial species. We put them through a bunch of them, through a lot of in vitro analyses in our lab. And then we took the probiotics that showed some promise in the lab, and then we tested them in large-scale trials, long-term trials in our horses here at our research farm. So that was the first step in the trial, was identifying what bacteria we wanted to look at. The next step was getting an understanding of how do we keep those bacteria alive, right? When we feed horses, we feed them, either pellets or meals or extruded nuggets, all of these things that are processed in some way. And the way that we process horse feed typically kills bacteria, right? So we had to identify either a specific way to protect that probiotic or identify a probiotic that innately could survive some of these processing parameters. So that's what we did, right? And we went down this entire road and looked at a variety of different things. And the research that we conducted on the Systemiq probiotic indicated that it was able to survive the pelleting process and had some really efficacious benefits to the horse, which I'm sure we'll get into here in a sec.
So you narrowed it down to make sure what was going in the feed tub got to the horse's insides where he could make use of them. That was what you had to do first.
Yes, absolutely. Step one, right? If something doesn't get into the horse's gut, it's not going to really help them, right?
That's true. And that's something that gets hammered into the consumer a lot by any company who is forthright with their marketing and for that matter, their research, that if you're giving your horse a probiotic, it needs to go in there and be active. So maybe, can you give me the dummies version of what is a probiotic?
Absolutely, right? So probiotic, it's a beneficial bacteria, right? So you think about, the horse's gut is filled with millions and millions of bacteria, right? And when you're feeding that horse, whatever you're feeding that horse, you're supporting that horse's gut health and you're supporting that horse's, bacterial population. Well, a probiotic is fed to a horse for a specific purpose, right? And that purpose can be to support the bacteria that already live in that horse's gut, or that purpose could be to interact directly with the gut or the physiology of the horse to improve their performance, their well-being, their immune function, their recovery from exercise. Whatever that parameter is that you're looking for, that could be another function of a probiotic. So, again, at base level, they're really, really simple little things. They're just little tiny bugs, bacteria you feed to the horse. They got to be alive, and they provide a health benefit to that horse.
So did you land on a specific, I'm going to use the word bug because I can understand what bug is, or did your research indicate there were lots of bugs, a few bugs? What happened at the end of all that?
Absolutely. So specifically for Systemiq, which is this first probiotic supplement, we landed on a very, very specific bug, right? Not only a specific family, a specific genus, a specific species, but actually a specific strain of bacteria. So the bacteria that we selected is a very unique strain of Bacillus coagulans, right? A species of bacteria that, we saw was able to, again, survive that pelleting process. It survived the passage through the horse's stomach, right? That gastric environment, very acidic, very, harmful to bacteria. And then in the research that we did, we showed that it was able to support that horse's post-exercise recovery and also support horses as they progress through a period of gastrointestinal distress. And so we conducted exercise trials at our research farm here in St. Louis. We had over 20 horses on that trial where we evaluated the inflammatory response to exercise, the recovery from exercise. We did an additional trial where we looked at the effect of gastrointestinal distress and how supplementing with Systemiq was able to help those horses. And we saw that those horses were able to recover or support them through that gastrointestinal stress more appropriately. In fact, they were able to maintain a higher fecal score, right? So I know all the listeners out here, I'm a horse owner myself, where you look at our horses and we go, man, my horse's poop looks different today, right? There's something going on with my horse, right? So we took that to the next level, and we actually developed a scoring system. We had a group of technicians that were blinded to the treatment that actually scored the horse's fecal consistency every single day so that we can apply statistics to that, right? So it's not just a gut feeling of, my horse's poop looks different. There's actually statistical relevance to a fecal scoring system. And that's what we did. And we showed that the horses that were consuming Systemiq had improved fecal consistency versus the horses that were not consuming Systemiq.
That's really cool. And again, and I've mentioned this before when I was chatting with Dr. Dunaway, the science, there's a button you can click when you go to mq.purinamills.com. There's a button, see the science behind Systemiq supplement. And I love that you guys publish the science and you use graphics and you give the science to folks who own horses, people who are not PhD nutritionists, in a way that is understandable without going into so much detail that you're lost. And I noticed that when you mentioned the individual bug that is in Systemiq, it's got the name of the bug, but then it's got a whole bunch of numbers behind it. And that indicates that very specific bug that you guys found and tested and put into your products, because everybody's looking for a cheap product rather than an effective product. That might be a little backwards. Hint. If you're looking at a Bacillus coagulans, but it doesn't have all those exact same numbers beside it, it's not the same thing. So you're going to go to Joe Schmo, the cheap supplement producer. You're going to pay dollars for a product that's not the same and has not been tested.
You're 100% correct, right? This specific Bacillus coagulans, it's GBI 306086 to just get those letters and numbers out there, right? It's a strain of Bacillus that is proprietary to Purina, so you're not going to get this specific strain anywhere else. But you're right, they're not all created equal, right? Just because something says Bacillus coagulans on the label doesn't mean that it's the same Bacillus coagulans. And I love your point about the research. As someone who's been in the science space, my whole life, I do a lot of work and write scientific papers and journal articles, and I can get really into the nitty gritty. But getting to the horse owner and to the consumer, it's oftentimes more important to get it to be less confusing, right? And so you're right. We have some great videos that are out there. We have our sell sheets. We have our research reviews that take it a little bit further. And then, like you said, we do have published literature, on our product as well. So all different levels for the horse owner that's interested. We have all the information that's out there. The research that we've done has taken a long time. So thank you to all the listeners that may have participated in our project leading up to this, submitting the over 5,000 samples that we have here at the research farm. You guys were all part of the research. You guys are all part of the development of our MQ platform. So thank you for that. And yeah, hopefully we're going to be able to be helping horses all around the country with this new product and service.
There we go. Thank you again, Dr. Robert Jacobs, for stopping by and chatting with us on Horse Tip Daily. And again, that website is mq.purinamills.com. Well, there you have it. Horse Radio Network has thousands of engaging podcasts for horse people, and you can have them sent right to your phone. Just subscribe via your favorite podcast player. This is Coach Jen, and I will be back again soon with another tip. Until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements made by guests on the Horse Tip Daily. Please use your own judgment when listening to the tips on this show.